Hey everybody, Jeff Schneider here, and today we're going to go over a lick that you're going to absolutely love. This is one of those licks that's going to help you get into the world of tritone substitution, which I know sounds complicated, but it doesn't have to be, especially when you attack it with a lick like the one we're going over today. So I'll play it first. This is from Bessie's Blues, the John Coltrane tune, but this is actually from the pianist McCoy Tyner's solo, and take a listen. Here we go. Right, and now let's do it a little bit slower and pay attention to the middle of the line where it sounds kind of hip and modern. That's where we're going to dig in today. Here it is at 70%. Right here. Okay, so what's happening in the middle of that lick? Why does it sound so cool? Well, as I said, it's because he's using tritone substitution. Now I'm going to go over what tritone substitution is quickly here, and then we'll talk about why this line is such a great entryway into the world of tritone substitution so that you can use it in your solos too. All right, so let's start by defining what is a tritone. A tritone is simply three whole steps. All right, now tritone substitution is, well, substitution is where you substitute one chord for another. So we're going to substitute the E flat 7. We're playing an E flat 7 blues here. So instead of E flat 7, what's a tritone away from E flat? What's three whole steps away from E flat? Well, one whole step away from E flat is F, then there's a G, and then one more is an A. So instead of E flat 7, we're going to use an A7 chord. Now, when I say use, what I really mean is imply. And McCoy Tyner is so good at implying harmony over other harmonies. Now, the part of the solo that he uses tritone substitution is right in here, but there's actually another technique he's using that I'm going to go over later that really brings this more modern section to life and makes it sound even hipper. I'll talk about that shortly. But first, let's get into the theory of this line here and why it works so well as a tritone substitution line. So in this lick, what chord is he implying? What's the tritone substitution chord? Remember, it's A7. I'll write that in here just so you don't forget. It's A7. Now, what is he playing here? Let's look at the notes. We've got an E, an A, an E, an A, an E, a C sharp, D, B, C sharp, E. You can read. I'll play it for you nice and slow. This is just like classic A major material, really, really basic A major material. If you ignore the key center of E flat, let's just focus in on A major for a second here. This E is the 5. This A is the root or the 1. Back to the 5, back to the 1, back to the 5, back. There's the 3. So we're outlining an A major chord right off the bat. Then we've got this section right in here. D, B, C sharp. This is a little enclosure where the target note, the most important note, is that C sharp right there. That's where we're targeting. And we set it up with this enclosure enclosing the C sharp from above and below with that D and that B. Above, below, and then landing on that target. So we have this A major arpeggio figure, and then enclosing the C sharp, which is another way of highlighting that particular note, C sharp, which is the 3rd of A major. And then again, I'll clear this out, right in here, starting on that C sharp, we have another A major triad. And then the end is also nothing fancy. It's just going up that classic 1, 2, 3, 5 pattern. But it sounds so good because when you play it over E flat 7, you get all of these cool altered extensions. Right? The E is the flat 9. This E right here, that's the flat 9 of E flat 7. The A is the sharp 11. Now here's where things get really cool because one of the things that can be a little bit challenging when it comes to implementing this more advanced, crunchy music theory to your solos is getting out of it, exiting the line in a way that's musical. Now, before we go on, I have to let you know that my soloing bootcamp program is on sale right now. It's 80% off, and it's a collection of all of my best courses on soloing and improvisation. You get etudes, you get licks, you get, as I said, my best courses on how to improve your solos in the shortest amount of time possible. I'm all about getting you those instant results so that you can be proud of your playing, because there's nothing better than listening back to one of your solos and just feeling great about it. So I want that for you. Check out the Soloing Bootcamp. It's on sale for just a couple more days. I'll link that on the screen and in the description below, but let's go back to it here. So you have to be able to exit smoothly, and that's what he does here by using some really smooth voice leading. So he's going up this section right in here. He's going up A, B, C sharp, E, 1, 2, 3, 5 in the context of A major. And then check out what happens next. He goes down in the same way he came up, but in the context of A flat or A flat 7. E flat, C, B flat, A flat. 5, 3, 2, 1. So here it is again, nice and slow. I'm going to start right on this E flat 7. So we have 1, 2. All right, now for that hidden secret that I mentioned earlier. Why does this line pop so much beyond the fact that it is tritone substitution? Well, he uses one of my favorite techniques ever, and it's so powerful because you can use it in so many different areas of soloing and music and really life, but we'll leave that for another video. That secret, that powerful concept here is the power of contrast. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you take a look at what's happening before and after our fancy line, we've got this blues sandwich. Let's call it the blues sandwich technique. That might actually be a good name for this video. So we have this blues sandwich, which is where we kick off the top of the chorus here with some really classic blues vocabulary, this kind of a thing. I mean, that is the blues scale right there. That is just the blues scale. And that's why it sounds so bluesy. And then I'll play the third line here, right in here. What is that? That's more blues scale, E flat blues. By the way, if you want to learn more blues vocabulary, I have a lot of blues licks and etudes in that soloing bootcamp that I mentioned earlier. So actually, I should mention that I have a whole course called Improvising with the Blues Scale Without Sounding Like an Amateur. That's included in the soloing bootcamp. So lots of great stuff in there. But what's happening here with this blues sandwich? We have the contrast of the classic blues vocabulary right up against that more modern tritone substitution line. And it's that contrast that really brings the hipness of that tritone subline out, and it brings it to life. And as I said, there are so many other ways to implement the power of contrast into your solos. I remember one time I was taking a solo in a big band, and it was this arrangement that right before the solo section, there was this really loud part where the whole band was playing, and then what I did at the beginning of my solo was come all the way down to about as soft as I could play. So we had this like ba ba boo-da in the band, and then I was like and it kind of sucked all the air out, and that contrast made everybody really listen and focus in on the solo, and that is the power of contrast. But it's not just dynamics, it's blues vocabulary against more modern jazz vocabulary. It's playing high versus playing low. It's playing fast versus playing slow. There's so many ways you can take advantage of contrast. It is such an effective way to level up the quality of your solos. So try the blues sandwich, try some tritone substitution, and definitely check out the Soloing Bootcamp. It's on sale, 80% off just for a couple more days. So I hope to see you in there. And until then, you can check out another video right over here, and I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.